Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Thursday, May 15th, and the energies in the day adds up and reduce to number 2 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. The spirit guidance for today's energy is hummingbird, and the hummingbird comes out in the reversal position, and the hummingbird brings me to communication. And it's interesting because before I selected the hummingbird energy, I looked at the chart and I wanted to look where Mercury was at, because I didn't speak much on Mercury and where it's placed in the last set of videos that I posted before these sets. And like, the first set is when I posted the videos about the birds outside fighting. And for me, the birds outside fighting, what happened was there was a nest in the corner of the roof and the mom pushed the babies out because it was time for them to move on. And that's exactly what happened. But of course, some of the babies were they didn't want to leave the nest. And for me, that reflected like a new cycle of like coming up out. It's like a butterfly, how the butterfly goes from the caterpillar and into the butterfly state. It's like entering into a new stage. It's like page energy is how I saw what was happening with the birds outside. And the reason why I'm bringing that up, because throughout the messages that I recorded last week, I felt myself like fighting to communicate. There was something around communication that felt super challenging. And because of that, I had to cut the video a couple times because it just felt like my words, they didn't flow as easily. And I kind of felt that today sitting here, but I looked at the chart real quick while I was getting ready to pull the card. And, I was looking at what's happening with Mercury. And of course, Mercury is the planet of communication, the planet of information, and it is in the sign of Taurus, and it's a part of a T-square. And that T-square for me reflects challenges when it comes to communication. And the challenges that it reflects when it comes to communication for me brings me to the thought of like overthinking what it is that we're going to say before we say it. And in the last videos, that's how it felt within me. It felt like there was a battle within me, because for me, normally my issue is that I say it the minute I think it, or before it even registers in my mind, it is coming out of my mouth. And I've explained to you guys in the past how that has been problematic for me, because with me thinking that I'm helping, I'll say things and, I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have said that. Like I will just blurt it out. And it's like, I've been working on that over the years. So for me, it was never overthinking it. It was saying it. And then after I say it, it's like, okay, someone with Mercury and Aries that isn't negatively affected in any way would probably relate to what I'm saying here. So for me, it's been the opposite, this overthinking of what I'm going to say, or feeling like I want to tiptoe around certain things so I don't say the wrong thing. And with Mercury being a part of a T-square today, some of us could experience that energy as something about the words coming out of our mouth, or overthinking what it is that we're going to say, or not wanting to offend anyone when it comes to our words. And for me, when it comes to communication, I feel like I have no control over what someone hears. I only have control over what I say. And as long as I'm intentional and clear about my intentions before I speak, like that's the only thing I have control over. And I feel like that's something to keep in mind, because with Mercury and Taurus, it is being aspected. It's in a challenging aspect between planets and other fixed signs. So with Mercury and Taurus, and then challenged by Pluto and Aquarius, I think of something pertaining to the groups that we associate ourselves with, or maybe it could be our colleagues or people that we group up with for charitable cause or things of that nature, or people that say that's into astrology and you're in astrology. They're into gardening and you're into gardening. They're into something you're into. And when it comes to communicating to them, normally it would be easy to communicate to these people because, you know, we share this common thing. But for some reason, communication feels challenging. And then Mars in Leo energy, squaring Mercury in Taurus, you know, the communication feels tough. And I feel like when it comes to Mars, say in Leo, Mars in Leo energy, we're motivated by ourselves as individuals. Pluto in Aquarius, there's death and rebirth when it comes to the people that we're associating ourselves with. Mercury in Taurus, Taurus is ruled by Venus. So with Taurus being ruled by Venus, Mercury wants to say things in a way that's diplomatic. And when it comes to certain things, there's no better way to say it other than to just say it. And I find that in some situations, or I feel like most situations, where I might be talking to someone who might have asked my opinion on something, but because maybe they're going through something. And then whenever I gave the opinion, instead of staying focused on the challenge at hand, it was easier instead to make it seem like, well, you shouldn't have said it so harsh, or you shouldn't have said it this way. You should have said it that way instead, or it's like nitpicking on the way how I should have said it. And to me, that was just a way to kind of like deflect and get away from like the main issue. And I feel like, you know, in certain situations, like we could see situations like that coming up where it's like, instead of staying focused on like the topic of the conversation, some people could easily deflect and make it seem like, well, it was your tone. It was the way you said cat. It was the way you said mouse. It was the look on your face when you said it. And it's like, let's stay focused on the matter of let's stay focused on what it is that we're dealing with. And I feel like that could be a thing where, you know, deflecting instead of dealing with what's important, you know, people want to focus on other things to get away from what needs to be focused on. And I feel like in some cases, some people might be so used to being misunderstood. And it's not even that you were misunderstood in the past. It's that the people that you were talking to, it's like deflecting or being manipulative and making it seem like it's about the way you said it. It's how you said it. It's your tone. That's them being manipulative and redirecting the attention away from the mess or the situation and then making it about something else. Anything but to take responsibility for, you know, what the conversation started about. And I feel like for a lot of us, when we're used to situations like that, instead it could result in us being fearful or nervous when it comes to communicating, feeling like we don't want to ruffle any feathers when it comes to our communication. So I had to pause for a bit because of distractions outside. And I feel like that ties into the message. But I mean, I did say it when we got into the month of May, that May is an energy that deals with overstimulation, sudden and unexpected changes. So they're going to come up. But yeah, like I was saying, I feel like for some of us, when we're so used to dealing with people who are so good at deflecting and then making it the problem about your tone and your facial expression when you said it, you know, anything to get away from the issue. It's like some of us, like if we're not aware of what's going on, we could make it an us problem and cause ourselves to feel uncomfortable when we're communicating and needing to tiptoe around things, trying to protect people's feelings. And that's because we've been trained by, you know, being around certain kind of people to feel like, you know, us telling the truth is the problem, when really, you know, we're just around a lot of people who are good at manipulating and deflecting. And with the hummingbird energy coming out in the reversal position, the hummingbird in the reversal position coming out would remind me of an experiment. Is it an experiment or a social thing that I've seen done where say you have a group of people lined off, like let's say 10 people or so, and you whisper something in the ear of one person and they whisper into the next person's ear and the next person's ear and the next person's ear. And by the time whatever was said gets to the end, it's not what was said. Today's energy to me would feel like something around communication, like an imbalance around communication, misunderstanding around communication. And, you know, for me, when it comes to communicating, especially say text message, I like to pick up the phone and just get straight to the point if it's something that is important or could be easily misunderstood, or if I see there's signs of misunderstanding. And when it comes to group dynamics and group situations, whenever say there's a manipulative person within the bunch, they like to operate more of like keeping everything a secret. It's like something is said to this person, but don't say nothing to that person. Where I respect transparency, where it's like, let's have a group meeting and let's put everything on the table so there's no room for confusion. Where in situations when there are people who like confusion, they like to keep things in the dark because they thrive in the confusion. Because normally when there are situations where someone likes to keep people in the dark because they thrive in the confusion, they're probably the one moving people around like chess pieces on a chessboard. And if everybody was to get together and share everything, then everything will go back to that one person who's stirring up the pot and acting like that isn't the case. So when it comes to today's energy being the 15th, the number 1 is the individual, the number 5 is change, and 1 + 5 is 6. And with the energies in the day adding up to number 6 vibration, to me, could bring up some sudden and unexpected change in a relationship dynamic, some change in a connection. And with the number 5 energy repeating, because we're in the 5th month and the number 5 is within the 15, the number 5 brings in telepathic energy. The energies in the day adds up or reduced to number 2 vibration. And the number 2 energy brings in, say, like, it's like that gut feeling, that gut knowing. And for me, I've shared in past videos, how it was my intuition that helped me to realize that I was caught up in a toxic relationship dynamic where it's like everything looked perfect as far as my eyes could see and on paper, but intuitively something just didn't feel right because I was being manipulated, but I couldn't see that I was being manipulated. And when I think of like manipulation energy, I think of Neptune. Neptune energy is manipulation energy. It's also spiritual energy. But the reason why I feel like Neptune energy could be big time manipulation energy, it's not because say the person is manipulating us, when that could be the case a lot of the times, but it's because we manipulate ourselves because we're seeing a thing through rose-colored glasses. And an example of that for me is say because you met someone in a spiritual setting. And because you met them in a spiritual setting or in a spiritual environment, or maybe they hold the title of a spiritual person, because of that, you're not you, but you know, some of us could expect for them to operate a certain way because we met them in a certain environment. So we're expecting them to be a certain way. And in some cases, we could put our guard down completely when it comes to this person because of where we met them or because of their titles. So we stop seeing them as they are. And we stop seeing them, you know, a day at a time, and instead project onto them and see them through how we think someone who wears this title or who is associated in a certain environment should be, when that might be far from who that person is. And then when we wake up to the truth of who they actually are, things may have gone really far. And it's like, damn, how could I not see this? Because we got lost on their title. So I think in certain relationship dynamics, we might meet a person and because they look good on paper, they speak a certain way. Maybe they're into, you know, you come across someone and they, you know, on their profile, it shows that they're into spirituality, they're into astrology and numerology. And you think because they're into astrology, numerology, spirituality, you assume that they're on a self-awareness journey like you, where for them, their interest in astrology, numerology might be a form of validation. Just a way to say, I am the way I am because my sun is in this sign. I am the way I am because this is my rising sign. Or valid, or, you know, people use things for different reasons. And, you know, we delude ourselves when we assume we know people based on certain symbolic things that they might be into, opposed to allowing for time to pass to fully get to know a person. So today's energy with the hummingbird coming out, it brings me to something around clear communication. So if you find yourself going through something today and there's confusion when it comes to communication, bring everybody together. If that's something you can do, bring everybody together and put it all out in the open, opposed to say you say something to this person, they could easily go back and twist and turn whatever it is that you said when that's not what you meant. Or you could just not say anything and keep your mouth shut. But something keeps coming up around communication. And I mean, the number 5 energy is ruled by Mercury. So there's definitely something around communication where that's concerned. Something about relationships, how we're relating to people, and also to something around our status, something around how we define success for ourselves. And Jupiter is the ruler of the day because Thursday is associated with Jupiterian energy. Jupiter is a part of a T-square with Neptune in Aries and the moon in Sagittarius. So when I look at the T-square energy that's being made, there's something around siblings, communication, how we nurture ourselves, education, information, and like I mentioned earlier, projection. We're assuming something should be a certain type of way. What's coming to mind is how, say, you'll watch a movie and maybe a person is dressed as a police officer, but really they're going around abducting people. And because they're dressed in a certain way, they're able to catch people off guard. I feel like that's similar to how we delude and deceive ourselves with that Neptune 12th house Pisces energy. Because something is presented a certain way, we don't allow ourselves to patiently, we don't allow ourselves to see anything else. We just, see that as that and nothing else. And that's where we get caught off guard. The tarot associated with today's energy is interesting. We have the 4 of Cups in the upright position. So in the upright position, when you look at this card, she looks like she is meditating. To me, in the upright position, it's like she's manifesting something, but she doesn't realize what she's manifesting, that it has come to her. So it's like in the upright position, I think of us asking for something, but we don't realize that what we've asked for is being presented to us. In the reversal position, to me, it brings me to the thought of someone coming to a aha moment, a realization around something. When I look at the challenging aspects on the chart, the energies in today feel like they could feel a little bit burdensome. They could feel a little bit frustrating. And I feel as though, like, say a challenging thing comes in, and the challenging thing is what gets us out of that sleepwalk energy, that projecting rose-colored glass energy. So something comes up today and knocks off our rose-colored glasses off of our faces, and that could cause us to feel a little bit emotional or bummed out. But in the process of all of this, I feel like our eyes opens up to something. We're able to see something so much more clear. And I love how Pluto in Aquarius is positively speaking to Neptune conjunct Saturn. Saturn is in Pisces, Neptune is in Aries, and also Sun conjunct Uranus. So to me, with the positive aspects being made there, it's like there's death, rebirth, transformation, and there's some kind of freedom and seeing something for what it is. Or I think of utilizing the Neptune and Pisces energy the proper way. And the proper way is, you're using it as intuition, premonition. That's where we see mediums, psychics, also to manifestation, we calling something in consciously. Let's pause for a bit. I am proud of the services that I offer and excited to tell you about them. If it would be your first time booking with me, then I recommend the natal chart and numerology awareness coaching session. For a while, that was the only service I offered, along with the 30 minutes tarot reading, which is still available if you're interested. I noticed the pattern. At the end of the natal chart and numerology coaching sessions, some of you would ask me for a follow-up service options for additional clarity and guidance to assist you with whatever you're going through at the moment. I kept saying, I'll look into it. I don't know why it took me so long. Finally, I have created that option along with the service option to book a solar return chart reading for those of you who are strategic and like to plan ahead. Everything you need to know is within the description box below. Let's get back into the video. So to me, when it comes to today's energy, something comes up, triggers us, gets our attention. We're able to shake ourselves out of a situation where we weren't seeing things clearly. So it's almost like this realization that you realizing that you manifested something, or you called something in, or just becoming aware of something that, you know, we were unaware of before. So when it comes to today's energy, pleasure sharing it with you. And before you go anywhere, please drop me a orange heart in the comment box below. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.